Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
The Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. It's a Wednesday, the 15th of January. I'm CJ Baumgartner, Corey Tackman over there. Corey, a lot to recap with a busy night of high school sports. So why don't we start off? You had a real back and forth game there last night in Henning between the Hornets and the Browerville Eagle Valley Tigers. Give us the deets. What happened?
Well, I'm trying to remember the final score here and trying to find that final score. There it is in front of me. Really especially nice first 18 minutes of basketball. 33-32, Tigers on the road led Henning at the half. And what was just a nice first half of basketball. It wasn't like nothing spectacular happened. Nothing catastrophic happened. It was just two really nice basketball teams who are finding their groove in the month of January, right? Like this is the time now, especially for boys basketball. Girls basketball, maybe you want it to happen a little sooner because of the timing. But for boys basketball, you want to start finding your groove. Both of these teams are in that zone right now, and I thought played a really nice half. Out of the halftime break, the Henning Hornets moved to a full court press and just jumped out to a lead. I think in the first 3 minutes, it was a 9-0 run. And basically in what would amount to the third quarter of basketball, there was 9:29 left in the game when the next timeout was called. And Henning had gone on a 17-7 run to start that second half. So basically the third quarter, they outscored Browerville Eagle Valley 17-7. Eventually ended up winning 72-59. So that score sounds like maybe it got away from Browerville Eagle Valley, and it did early, but they pulled back to within 4 and made a fight out of it. It's just that every time you could feel one of those like, oh, they got the bucket they need. If they can just get a stop, Tegan Bierke scored again. It's just one of those. Every time Henning needed to make a bucket, made a few free throws down the stretch, and pulled out 72-59 was the final score. It's the best basketball game I've seen this year. We've joked about it a little bit, kind of away from the podcast, but I basically haven't seen a basketball game this year within 25 points. I've seen 2 now that have been within 25, and even though this one was not the closest margin that I've seen this year, was by far the 2 best basketball teams that I've seen play this year. Henning's going to be a real problem in Section 6A as they have been, as they become accustomed to. And Browerville Eagle Valley is going to be a absolute problem in Section 5A for everyone else. Those teams are good. They're nice.
They are nice. For Browerville Eagle Valley, I mean, them and Nevis in that subsection in the West End for 5A. There's some other teams in there that can do some stuff, but it seems like a lot of years you're writing down the Tigers, and the Tigers are going to be facing off for a chance to go to the section final. Yep. And there's a good chance that that's going to happen this year because Browerville Eagle Valley played Nevis over the weekend in Perham, and that was a single-digit ball game. Yep. And of course, Henning 6A, as we've talked about before, how tough of a section that can be. And there's some good teams in there as well. Obviously, Henning hasn't had Kale Misagatis for most of the season, hurt himself in a scrimmage earlier in the year and has not seen a game action. This is kind of your first look at the team without Misagatis, who's their best player. Did you talk with Coach Randy Misagatis on how the team has kind of evolved from that, and just kind of what did you see out on the floor?
Well, it's actually the second time I've seen Henning this year. Right. I did see him against Parker's Prairie earlier in the season. And I don't know, that was maybe a month and a half ago. Maybe it was really early. And, that was still in the early phases of figuring out how to play basketball without Kale, who is a dynamic basketball player. And I don't like using cliches, but just a really good floor general. He dictates the pace. Probably better than anyone I've ever seen. When he decides to push, it's because it's the time to push. He can slow things down. He can he can dictate how fast the defense needs to play to open up passing lanes and whatever. He's a really nice player. Which sounds like an understatement. He's an excellent basketball player. They looked just more cohesive, I guess, to say. Like I said, they've really found their groove. Tegan Bierke is a wonderful basketball player. He's not going to overwhelm you with athleticism. He's not going to overwhelm you with like, holy crap, I've never seen a guy who can dribble like that. Or holy crap, I've never seen a guy who can shoot like that, or whatever it is. He just doesn't turn the ball over. If he's open, he knocks down every shot. He's nifty. He's not like he certainly can't be the fastest guy on the team, but I bet his first step, like if it was a race from the baseline to the free throw line, he's probably winning that race. You know what I mean? He's just like got a really dynamic first step. He's really great on the block. He seals really well, gets his elbows out, and he's not throwing elbows, but you get your elbows out, you chin the basketball, you rotate around that. He seals guys off. He had a play that happened as I was looking at it on the visitor sideline in the near right corner. And there was 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and there was a double team that was down there, and the player who had come over to double team for the Tigers didn't even leave. He just kind of peeked to see where his guy went because the shot clock was running down. You don't want to just leave somebody wide open. And when he peeked, Bierke spun baseline and made what can only be described as the most wide open layup I've ever seen in my entire life. He was double teamed with 5 seconds left on the baseline, which is, as you know, effectively a triple team.
Mm-hmm.
That baseline works as a defender. The help just looked away. He spun her, and it was just a stunning move. He's such a nice basketball player that if Kale is able to come back by the end of this season, just to be able to have Kale's added dimension of height and his defensive presence and his ability to control pace and control tempo, and they're really going to be a problem, man. They're a good basketball team, and it was nice to see all of those good players after having seen them 5 weeks ago, let's say 6 weeks ago. They've kind of found who they are and what their roles are, because what a huge drastic change that is when you lose a player as good as Kale to all of a sudden, oh, now you have to be the one to dictate everything.
Right. And by the way, they've done it without losing a ton of games either. They still have found a way to, even though they've had that change, they've still won almost all their basketball games this year.
They're really good, man.
They're really good, really well coached. So is Browerville Eagle Valley on the other side. This was a fun game. It was one that I saw a year ago that was really fun back and forth. So when it came time to picking games and I saw that pop up, I was like, I think that would be a fun one to put out there.
Love talking to Randy, Coach Misagatis, and I love talking to Bob, Coach Schuler with the Tigers. They've been around forever. They know everything. They're smart guys.
Funny,
can I tell you a little inside thing?
Sure.
They'll talk basketball with you for days and days and days and days and days and days and days, all the while never quite giving everything away about what their team is. I had somebody who was sitting next to where I was sitting. Like, how'd those conversations go? I learned nothing. That's how they went. I never learn anything from those guys because no one ever gives away any of their secrets. But I love talking basketball with them.
We talked a lot of basketball, but I don't know anything about their team.
They're like, I'll talk to you for 20 minutes about the other team. And then you ask them one question about their team. And they'll be like, Schultz can fill it up a little bit. You go, what does that mean? Well, he's averaging if he continues his average, he might have like the single season scoring record. Like, what do you mean? He can fill it up a little bit. And then he goes, no, he's averaging like 25 a game. And I think Bryce averaged 27. So something special. I'm like, Bob, that's big news, man. How are you keeping this a secret?
Those are some fun teams. Those are some teams that are going to be going on some playoff runs. So I'm sure we'll be seeing a little bit of each of them later on in the season. Corey, I would have loved to listen to your game last night. I unfortunately had to work. But the good news was, fortunately, I got to also do some play-by-play. So that's my added bonus. Highway 10 Rivalry boys basketball was on KWAD and KNSP The Fan last night. Staples-Motley and Wadena Deer Creek. Corey, I did the math. I looked at the history. Since Wadena Deer Creek left the Mid-State Conference, so starting in the 2015-16 school year, Wadena Deer Creek and Staples-Motley have played each other every season since then, at least once.
Yep.
Or once. Wadena Deer Creek led that series, but what was the mark coming into yesterday's game? Well, what would you say? In the 9 games, what would you say? Wadena Deer Creek leads it.
In 9 games.
Yes.
Or last night was the 9th.
Last night was the 10th. But coming into yesterday's game.
It was 5-4.
5-4. That's what it was.
There's no reason you would ask otherwise, I don't think.
It was pretty. Yeah, no, this team has just been getting creamed in this. No, Wadena Deer.
Or it'd have been 6-3.
No, it'd have to be like a 20-year long stretch for me to be like, oh my gosh.
Right.
But that mark was like, these two teams have been pretty even over the last decade, or, it always feels like they've been able to kind of get eye for an eye, so to speak. Well, Staples-Motley evened up that series last night, but Wadena Deer Creek, obviously, they're a young team. They have one player from a year ago who had any consistent varsity time, but they didn't have a ton of games in December. And I've talked with Coach Thunberg about it. He's like, we got a chance to get our footing, get our stuff. But he's like, at a certain point, we wanted to get to January where that schedule really loads up and we have a ton of games, because you can make an adjustment in practice, but you don't actually know if that adjustment works until you put it in a game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so they've had a good opportunity this month to put some of that into practice, to try out some different things. I thought they played well with the Staples-Motley team that, you've covered so far throughout the year, and you've talked with them a couple times. They're big, they're strong, they like to go up and down the court. They're a physical team. I thought Wadena Deer Creek did a good job hanging with them. At halftime, it was 25-19. About early on in the second half, maybe about 15 minutes to go in the game, maybe about 13 minutes to go-ish, that realm, Wadena Deer Creek got it to within 3 points. And I thought, okay, here we go. Like, we got this game on, like, back and forth. And then Staples-Motley, just kind of with their athleticism and what they're able to do, was able to push out in front, and then they kind of got the lead and didn't look back, because with 9 minutes to go in that final quarter of the game, it was 46-35, and then Staples-Motley runs away with it for a 64-45 victory over Wadena Deer Creek. Got to see a dunk from Avondre Brandt, so he got a poke away in transition, able to slam it down. He tried to get a second one, only just hit rim and kind of pushed it in from there. Didn't quite get to slam it. Only. Connor Kuntz had a nice game. Noah Larson had a good game as well for them. That's a Staples-Motley team that likes to move around. Talking with head coach Zach Wall, they like to move around. They like to use that athleticism, go up and down. You saw him do that. And for Wadena Deer Creek, this was a Kobe Snyder game. He finished with 27 points in this ball game, so he had 27 out of the team's 45. In the first half, he had so at the halftime score, it was 25-19, and Kobe Snyder had 15 of that 19 at halftime. The only other 4 points came from a 4-point play by Connor Dudke, which was impressive.
That's weird. Yeah, cool.
Anytime you can get a 4-point play, you get a shout out, because this is a inside secret from my life. When I was a senior in high school, we played Browerville Eagle Valley, first game of the year, Bertha Hewitt. That was kind of the way our schedule always worked out, it felt like. And one of my friends, who I'm still friends with to this day, he was a year below me, and he was playing, and he made a 3 and got the 3-point play, or the 4-point play, excuse me. And he, to this day, this has been almost a decade now since this happened, still goes up like, remember when I got that 4-point play?
Yeah, he should. That should be his email signature from henceforth.
Remember when I did that 4-point play? It was on the left wing, right in front of our bench, and just in.
I mean, how many times do you think that's happened?
Not a ton. In high school basketball, especially.
Absolutely not. That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Super cool. So Wadena Deer Creek, I thought, gave a good effort. I thought they tried to, be physical with the team that is, like, sometimes you say physical and it sounds like they're rough and tumble, but they're not. But like, they're a team that's big and strong and knows how to get to a spot in Staples-Motley and rebound, and they did that, and they get another win. They improved to 6-4 on the year. Wadena Deer Creek goes to 4-6 rather. And for it, I was talking with Coach Quall, and you've talked with him a little bit too, Corey. I was like, so how's the Heart of Lakes Conference move? And he's like, we've learned that like every single night you have to show up or you will lose. Like, and that's nothing to take away from the mid-state before, but just like that's a different level of basketball in that conference. And with some of those teams, and he thought that they're starting to make that adjustment. They're starting to get there. Obviously, losing Bestland for the year has been a real kind of cog, like we talk about with Kale and Kale and Henning. But for Staples-Motley, not having Bestland on that team does hurt them. But they said they've kind of figured things out and they're working through it. And obviously, throughout all this in Section 7AA, they're sitting middle of the pack. Heart of Lakes, they're sitting middle of the pack right now, and they feel like they're finally starting to play their best basketball and finally feel like they're really starting to find their footing. So that's always really cool to see. And you know what? It's always fun in that Highway 10 rivalry. So look at that, Corey. We had some games last night we could talk a lot about. That's fun. Sometimes you get done with the game and you're like, well, it happened. There were some fun moments, but
we'll tell you the final score and then we got to move on.
Right. Because there's just not that there wasn't good plays or not the kids didn't work hard, but it's just I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill here. This is what happened. This player took over. This team couldn't handle a press. Move on. Try and play next week.
Right.
That's what happened. So we got some more games coming up later in the week. You can find the full broadcast schedule online at WDenaRadio.com. That's where you can find our full broadcast schedule. And Corey, before we go any further, we do have some state sports stuff to talk about. Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think there's going to be, I'm calling. I think there's going to be a fight tonight. I just have no reason to feel it, but I think there's going to be a fight tonight. I'll explain a little bit later for that Timberwolves matchup. And then we got a game to play to end the sports desk. But first, we got to talk about the good folks at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Corey, what do you got?
Well, I didn't know this until I had seen that the Pizza Ranch posted on their Facebook page. It's National Pizza Week. So you could celebrate Pizza Week with Pizza Ranch. You're talking about hot and fresh right off the buffet. I've said it before. I'll say it again. My favorite is anything that's stuffed crust from Pizza Ranch. It is so good. It's the pepperoni. It's your Tuscan Roma. It's your buffalo chicken. It's your Texan taco. And that's just to name a few of the pizza options that the Pizza Ranch does provide. If you don't see on the buffet what you want, just order it. They'll get it out, and you get the first slices, even the freshest slices, before it officially hits the buffet. So that's what's going to fill your belly. But if you want to have a little fun, skip on over to the FunZone Arcade, just in the adjoining room there, and have a blast playing that new Godzilla VR game. Me and my 6-year-old, we loved it. It's our it's like it is probably his favorite memory of doing something with his father. It was awesome. So go check it out. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Once again, proudly, we hope, presenting the morning sports desk.
All right, Corey, I think there's going to be a fight tonight. I think there will be. The Minnesota Timberwolves are playing the Golden State Warriors. It's in Golden State, I believe, if I'm looking at my calendar right. No, it is in Minnesota. It's in Minnesota. It still doesn't matter. I think there's going to be a fight tonight. Why do I think that? Well, one, both teams,
Draymond plays for them.
Draymond Green, Rudy Gobert. Need I say more?
No, you need say nothing more.
The other thing is, the thing that will add fuel to this fire is both teams have, for lack of a better term, been underwhelming this season. The Warriors are 19-20. The Wolves are like 21-19 or somewhere around there. Both teams are kind of hovering around that 500 mark. Both teams are hovering in that 6 to 10 spot in the Western Conference standings. The Timberwolves right now would have the 8, they'd be the 8 spot, so they'd be in the play-in if the season ended today. Although, again, there's some fluctuation from basically like any NBA season. You have like the top 4 teams that fight for their own seeding, and then you have the 5 through 10 that are fighting for their own with a couple on the edge. I think that both teams had some underwhelming seasons. They've had some so far, and I think that maybe there's a little bit of stuff to take out. And you know what? Old habits die hard. Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green do not like each other. And coming off a game where he, not on Monday night, but over the weekend, where we talked about this on yesterday's show, got another fine for flipping the bird once again in the middle of a game. He said he's got to be better, said all the right stuff, but like, okay.
Go do it this time.
Yeah, exactly. You can apologize all you want, but there's the point of apologizing where this goes for anything, not just Anthony Edwards. You can apologize, but the apology means I know what I did was wrong, so I shouldn't do it again. If I, Corey, went into your studio and just spilled a cup of water on your counter, you'd be like, what'd you do that for? And I'd be like, sorry, man. And then if I come back in and spill water again, like, am I actually sorry because I just went in and did it again? Like
one of his greatest features is how self-aware he is.
Yes.
I think it's real. But one of the things that comes from being self-aware is you can lie. You cannot take care of your own business and talk about it and think that that's going to be good enough moving forward because people appreciate your honesty early on. At some point, as a boy who cried wolf here, that's going to happen. And I am very close to it being the case for me. Like if it happens again, one of those things. Fix it, dude. Fix it. You're an adult.
Well, and as we talked about yesterday, he's 23 years old. And now this is the first season where it's Ant's team. And this is why people 2 years ago were like, we just need to get rid of Cat. It needs to be Ant's team. You need to acknowledge it's Ant's team. The team was acknowledging it was Ant's team, but like they were acknowledging with the moves they made, not necessarily vocally, because not that it was ever Cat's team, but Cat always was the guy who would take the bullets for the media. Cat took a lot of bullets for Cat just inadvertently because it's a lot easier to pick on Karl Anthony Towns than it was Anthony Edwards. And now that guy's gone. There's nobody Rudy Gobert's there. He'll take some arrows from people, but only from other big men who are mad that Rudy Gobert is such a good defender. Like other than that, nobody, like you're the guy now on that team that when people think of the Wolves, like, and things, he's kind of that front and center guy. And it's his first year doing it. He's young. So you're expecting some growing pains. Now, that being said, it doesn't excuse the growing pains if they're self-inflicted. Like, once again, flipping the bird, constantly dropping swear words on national interviews on ESPN. Like, it's just stuff where it's like, I get it. Sometimes they happen, but they happen way too much to be like, whatever. When you're 19 and breaking into the league, like you get like, oh, that's cute. Like he's got to figure it out. But,
and it's not just this year, right?
Right.
It's using slurs on the court. It's finding out that someone who's not your girlfriend is pregnant and that's not the first time you've heard that news either, right? There's just some like maturity things that he's only 23 that he's got to work out and he's got to work through. And it's not a fair comparison. So I'm going to make the comparison anyway. LeBron James never dealt with any of this stuff. Ever. Kevin Durant, Anthony Edwards' favorite player. I don't remember KD running into some trouble, yes, but not the sort of consistent trouble. This consistent, like, damn it, we have to reprimand you again. Like, we have to do this. Right. We have to. We can't not reprimand you for this. Knock it off. Now, he's not demonstrative like the guy who's going to play for the other team tonight, like Draymond Green.
He's not throwing punches in practice.
Yeah, right. He's not kicking people in the nuts and things like that. That's not happening. But it is eventually a distraction.
And by the way, Anthony Edwards is one of the league leaders in technical fouls.
Yeah.
And if you get enough technical fouls, you get suspended.
And you know who is consistently a leader in technical fouls? The guy who's playing for the other team tonight. So they're different. They're different in how they get to their techs. But like, he's 23. He's young. You're allowed young mistakes. That's not it. But I can't be listening to you apologize and say how you got to be better and then consistently not be better.
Right.
The only way to be better is to actually do it, not say you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
I'll pick the Wolves tonight.
Wolves back. Wolves by 1 billion. Wolves in 6. Whatever you need to say. Wolves winning. All right, Corey, let's wrap up today's sports desk. I want to do a little bit of a nickname game. We've done this before a little bit where we've gone through the basketball reference page and picked out nicknames of random NBA players and tried to guess kind of where they're at. So what I want to do is I have a few different names here that we are going to do, and I need you to guess who they are based on their nicknames.
So sometimes these are really obvious.
Yes, and sometimes
they're just like whatever their Instagram handle is or something like that, right?
It's what when they were in the 7th grade, they picked chocolate milk for lunch, and that guy forever was known as White Chocolate because he got chocolate milk every day for lunch, or a white and a chocolate milk every day.
Right. But it's just and some of them will make, some of them are like, I'm actually convinced no one's ever called you that ever.
Exactly.
Or it's the nickname that they want to be called and no one's done it.
Trying to make fetch happen.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's start this thing off. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Dr. Dre.
Draymond Green.
No. All right, here's another one.
Wait. Are these current players? Are these current active players?
They are current active players. Yes.
Oh, I know. Okay, I'll let you wait for the next one. I have another guess.
No, if you're confident, I'll let you guess again.
Andre Drummond.
Your guess is Andre Drummond. No, that is not correct.
Dang it. This is going to be bad. And now I have no idea. All right, next.
All right, Brad. That's a nickname, I guess. Brad
and Dr. Dre?
Yes.
Are two of his nicknames?
How about Blue Magic? Real Deal. Here's the last one. Big Panda.
Big Panda? This is an active player?
Yep. It's not Meta World Peace, who when he played in China changed his name to like Friend of Pandas or something like that.
Is Brad a play on his, like, is that an acronym for something?
It is not an acronym.
Like, is it B period, R period, A period, D period? Doesn't stand
RAD. All in lowercase after the capital B.
Is Brad helpful at all or not helpful?
It is helpful.
Because it's Bradley Beal?
Yes, it is Bradley Beal.
I was waiting for a correct sound. It looked like you were going to give me a correct bell.
It is Bradley Beal.
There it is. Okay, good. This is why I was stalling. I just needed to stall it out for a few more seconds to get those are. Why is he Big Blue?
Yeah. Don't ask me.
Where did he go to college? Is that a college thing?
Where did Bradley Beal go to? I just closed out of the tab. Dang it. Where did Bradley Beal go to college? Bradley Beal went to. His Instagram handle is Brad Beal 3.
Okay.
You went to college in Florida.
So nope.
So Blue Magic was the nickname.
Oh, Blue Magic. That's right.
So Blue Magic, I guess. I don't know where Panda comes in. I don't know where Dr. Dre comes in at all.
No.
All right, let's do another one. I'll give you a layup.
Okay.
Special K.
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson. Cat.
Oh, he goes by Special K.
Apparently.
All right.
There's also Bodega Cat.
That one I've heard before.
I don't know where the bodega part comes in. I don't know if that's because he's in New York now. I don't know if that's always been a thing, but
I think Bodega Cat has kind of always been a thing. That's Karl Anthony Towns.
Yes, that in fact is Karl Anthony Towns.
Special K.
Special K, ma'am. All right.
Calls him that. His mother?
Wow.
Not anymore. Come on. You made that joke. I didn't. You didn't say it, but you implied that joke. That was not.
I wasn't making a joke. I was just going, well.
To know that was CJ who inferred something there. That was not.
I'm just trying to let you know that he cannot do that.
That was not.
You're bringing up his trauma on this podcast, Corey.
Not bring that up. That was not me.
You're the one who brought up his mother unprompted. That's
what his mother could have called him that. That was a fair question.
Yeah, you said it in present tense.
Sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I want everyone to know who brought that up and made it weird. I want everyone to know that wasn't me.
All right, ready for this one? I hope you remember this because I believe we did this the last time.
Okay.
Baby-faced assassin.
Oh, Who is a baby face? Steph Curry's a baby face. Yeah.
1 for 1.
Good. Can I tell you the other option was Devin Booker? He's kind of a baby face, isn't he?
He is a baby face, yes.
Doesn't Slow-Mo look like Steph Curry's like cousin from the hills?
Like he's got like some family from China, doesn't he? So like if he's his cousin from China or something like that.
I don't know. I'm saying it looks like Steph Curry grew up in the city, and then every summer they'd go visit their cousins in the mountains.
Just because of the beard, isn't it?
They just look kind of similar.
Uh-huh. They look more similar than the other Steph Curry.
Yeah. All right. Good. I'm feeling good about this. 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 or whatever we're at.
All right. Are you ready for this? Where the heck? Okay. Ready for this nickname? Jay.
Jay. Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid. Taco J. Except this time it's Jay, not like taco the letter J. The first one was just the letter J. If that helps.
Taco J.
And that is not
Jason Tatum.
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
He did go to college at Duke. I don't know.
Is this one? Yeah, that's true. Is that his pregame meal?
Maybe.
I gotta look up why he's called Taco J while you give me the next one.
All right. Let's see here. All right. Here's a layup for you. The Little Emperor.
Jose Alvarado.
L Train.
L Train?
Yes.
Like the letter L and then train?
Yes.
Is that a Chicago reference or is that just for him? Lonzo Ball.
Benjamin Buckets.
Ben Simmons. That guy has got a bucket in years.
All right, here are the easy ones. Captain L'America.
LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMelo Ball.
The Akron Hammer.
LeBron? LeBron? I've never heard of any of those.
King James, LBJ, Chosen One, Bron, the Little Emperor, the Akron Hammer, L Train, Benjamin Buckets, and Captain L'America.
Benjamin Buckets.
Who calls him Benjamin Buckets?
Tacos are Jason Tatum's favorite food. That's why they call him Taco J. It's the worst nickname ever.
All right.
Call me the Corey. What an awful nickname.
Pizza Ranch Buffet Corey.
Pizza C. Oh, it's Pizza C in the house.
Pizza C, he's about to slice you up with some kilograms.
Benjamin Buckets.
Benny Buckets.
Benny Buckets is considerably better. Here's why I like Benjamin Buckets. There's no hint there at all. I'm fine with that. Nicknames that have no hint at all are way more fun than a very unoriginal Bron.
Who is called him Bron?
That's a sucky nickname.
Bron is like, what is that? Is that like a pet name from his wife? Like
Bron.
Give me a little Bron. Come here.
Probably what is Bron. I mean, it's not much better than Bronny, but I get why he goes by Bronny, you know?
Right. All right. One last one.
Yes.
All right.
Are we going obscure here, or is this should I get this one?
Midway. This is kind of like a mid-level exception.
All right, I'll guess before you give the first hint. I'll say it is Jalen Suggs.
The King of New York.
Jalen Brunson?
You
It could only be him, right?
I heard your mouth say Jalen, and I was like, "Oh, he's gonna get this." And then
Yeah. Oh, good point. I didn't even think about that. That would have been amazing.
He also, I should have went by his first nickname, Big Body.
That's funny. I would have guessed Zion for that one.
He's got another nickname that I don't think I can say on this podcast.
Do it.
No, we have a nice sponsorship with a great family restaurant and pizza.
You already made a joke about somebody's dead mother.
I didn't joke about that. I just stated that you probably can't be doing that. He also goes by JB. Fine. Brunson Burner.
I like that one. That's fine.
That would be a cooler nickname, I feel like, in the 90s, and I have no reason to explain my justification.
It's a really good newspaper headline.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like when he was lighting people up in high school.
Brunson Burner lights up.
Correct.
Knicks win by 20.
Yeah, that was given to him by the local sports editor.
Brunson Burner lights Burner lights up Jaguars. Where did he play high school at?
He's from New York, I believe.
Adlai Stevenson. He went to high school in Illinois, Lincolnshire, Illinois.
Sure.
Adlai Stevenson. So something like that. Played college at Villanova, which makes sense. Because they're the Nova boys. Bruns him. So BRUNS, all capital him.
Yeah, that's dumb.
And then Big Body and the King of New York.
Big Body's funny. I would have not guessed it.
Where are the good nicknames like Glenn Big Baby Davis?
Big Baby's so good, isn't it?
What's he up to these days?
I mean, almost all of Shaq's nicknames are awesome. Diesel is so good.
Big Diesel, because that looks like if that guy was a machine, that machine would run on diesel.
Diesel. It's such a good name. Like Big Aristotle is ridiculous.
That's just funny especially if you know the story behind it, which is that Phil Jackson wanted Shaq to shoot better at free throws. So he told him over the summer to read Aristotle to help calm his mind, because that's just who Phil Jackson is.
Yes.
And Shaq being Shaq didn't read it at all, a single word, and then just came out going, I'm a big Aristotle. Like, and that to no end, I'm sure, ticked off Phil Jackson, which
of course,
like you gave me homework over the summer. No, of course I'm not doing that.
I know.
I'm gonna.
I know have I told you about my favorite nickname I've heard in real life?
No.
I gotta be careful how I say this because it's about somebody who's from around here. My wife went on a trip one time, like a youth group trip or something along those lines, right? And they were on a hike on this trip. And my mother-in-law was the supervisor on this trip. And she couldn't keep up with the rest of the group because there was always somebody who was kind of trailing behind. Mm-hmm. And my mother-in-law nicknamed her 10 Step because she was always 10 steps behind everyone else. It's just perfect. It's just perfect.
It's innocuous if you don't know the meaning behind it, and it's great if you do know the meaning.
Why 10 Step? You just immediately, why 10 Step?
10 Step sounds like the nickname of a kid that they would get in like a 90s direct to VHS movie.
Yeah.
About it's like a Goonies knockoff.
Or like, it's like a sports movie. The guy who's just faster than everyone else. Oh, my cousin's moving here for the summer. He likes to play baseball. What do you call him? 10 Step. Why? He's 10 steps faster than everyone else. And then the coach just goes, oh, we were going to lose the team because all the funding is gone, but now we might win the championship.
To win the championship, the prize money for winning the championship is inexplicably the exact amount of money we need to keep the team funding. And then that kid's going to hurt his leg like right before the championship game. The rival team that's a bunch of rich kids is going to get that 10 step to go play for them. And then now they, through the power of friendship, have to beat the other team. And this little pipsqueak kid who's been kind of the comic relief all movie gets up to bat, and he comes in with a big hit when it matters most, and then they win.
Steals home. And then at the very end of the movie, the feel-good moment of it all, 10 Step looks at that kid and says, I'll race you, 9 Step.
And then it's like they're getting ready. They draw the chalk line, and then somebody just says, go. And then they start, and then it's a freeze frame to like some Cut to black. Directed by
Cut, check the gate. Thanks, Ron Howard. Another winner.
Your check is at the door. No, in high school, this is probably not. I never had it. Obviously, my whole life has been a nickname, I guess, theoretically. But so I never had any nicknames on top of that, except for when I was in high school. This is a nickname I didn't pick for myself. Other people gave it to me, not even because it was anything related to me, but because of just a kid who also had the same name. So there was like remember America's Got Talent? There was like a kid on there, like this 8-year-old white rapper, like this little boy who went by the name CJ Dippa, Dippa. Yeah. And so every time I'd walk into my 10th grade American history class, Mr. Kwam would look at me and go, Dippa, every single time, and would do the hand clap with the pointing.
Every story you tell me always ends with Mr. Kwam was the one who did it. It's always him. No, that's perfect. I love everything about that. I had multiple nicknames because Tackman is kind of fun to play off of.
It is, yeah.
But also one time in high school, I wore a shirt. It was like a bowling shirt I bought at JCPenney's for summer school shopping, and it had somebody else's name on it. I got it because it was funny to me. That was just my sense of humor. Like, that's not my name. It'll be funny to wear somebody else's shirt. And and it was Bob. And it was like, I think my freshman year of high school, and those high school friends still call me Bob to this day.
Bobby.
My mom and my sister call me Toby because Corey was hard for her to say when she was little, and it came out Toby. So that my mom and my sister call me that fairly occasionally. But we learned after LeBron James's nicknames today that we could call you Bomb Bomb.
Yeah, sure.
Why not? Bomb, shake your bomb, shake your bomb.
Maybe not like that in that context.
Come on, live a little.
My brother's a self track star now, running for Valley City. I'm putting that in air quotes for people who aren't watching on YouTube, but you should watch on YouTube.
You're so rude to your brother every time you have to talk.
He didn't play baseball, and for that, he is. Me and my other brother have just kind of always.
He's excelling collegiately at athletics. CJ,
he was a left-handed thrower, and he decided not to play baseball, and forever he's now a second class.
You're an adult who talks about high school sports. He's excelling at the collegiate level. Tell me who won that battle.
Only one in the Baumgartner side of the family to play collegiate, to compete collegiately. And we've actually had the conversation all the time, me and my cousins, because we're all kind of around the same age. And we go, how did he become the best athlete out of all of us? Anyway.
Looked right. You didn't give him a chance.
No, we did not. To be fair, he was much younger than us.
He had an entire livelihood of people saying it's not going to be you.
No, he had So he had a nickname when he played summer rec baseball. He got the nickname Zachy Bomb, and that was coming from, once again, Zachy Bomb, coming from Mr. Kwam.
I'm going to do that next time I see him.
He's just a hands guy. He's a great guy. I one of my favorite high school teachers.
He's awesome. I love every interaction I've ever had with him.
Head girls basketball coach, Bertha Hewitt.
Yes.
Good guy. All right. That'll wrap it up. This has been the Morning Sports Desk, powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. We'll see you tomorrow.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.